Money wasn't always paper, its wild original form? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world without cash, without coins jingling in your pocket, without credit cards or digital wallets. Now picture yourself standing in an ancient marketplace. You want to buy some food, maybe a tool or a piece of clothing? Instead of handing over a few notes or swiping a card, you're expected to offer a bundle of salt, a shiny seashell, or maybe even livestock. Strange as it sounds, this was the reality for most of human history. Money wasn't always paper. In fact, its original forms were some of the wildest, most creative, and most unexpected inventions humanity ever came up with. The story of money begins long before coins or paper currency ever existed. Early humans relied on bartering, exchanging one good for another. A farmer with extra grain might trade with a potter who could offer him new clay jars. At first glance, this sounds simple enough, but bartering had a major problem. What if the potter didn't need grain at that moment? Or what if the value of grain in pots didn't match? These awkward exchanges led to the need for something better, a universal medium that everyone agreed had value. And so, the earliest forms of money were born, though they looked nothing like the bills in your wallet today. One of the earliest and most bizarre forms of money was salt. Yes, the same mineral we sprinkle on our food was once so valuable that it shaped economies and even gave us the word salary. In parts of Africa and ancient Rome, salt was so scarce and vital for preserving food that it became a form of currency. Imagine being paid for your hard work, not in coins, but in blocks of salt. Wars were fought over salt, trade routes were built around it, and entire cities thrived simply because they controlled its supply. But salt wasn't the only unusual currency. In the islands of Micronesia, money came in the form of giant stone discs known as rye stones. These massive circular stones could be as large as 12 feet across and weighed several tons. Obviously, no one was walking into a shop carrying one of these on their back. Instead, ownership was transferred verbally. If you bought something with a rye stone, the community simply acknowledged that the stone, no matter where it physically sat, now belonged to the other person. Incredibly, some of these stones even sank into the ocean during transport, but still counted as valid currency because everyone knew they existed. Elsewhere in the world, cowrie shells became one of the most widely used forms of money. Their glossy, beautiful surface made them desirable, and they were small enough to carry in bulk. From Africa to Asia to the Pacific Islands, these shells became the global currency of the ancient world. Some African kingdoms conducted entire economies on cowrie shells, and in parts of China, they were so important that early metal coins were shaped to resemble them. It's almost surreal to think that a tiny seashell could once buy you land, food, or even a bride. In medieval Russia, the preferred form of money was not gold or silver, but fur, known as fur money. Pelts from animals like sable or squirrel were traded as a symbol of wealth in exchange. In fact, for centuries, fur was so important that it powered Russia's economy. With merchants traveling across Siberia to gather pelts for trade. Similarly, in early colonial America, tobacco was used as money. Farmers paid debts, bought goods, and even settled taxes with bundles of tobacco leaves. For them, money literally grew in the fields. As societies developed, precious metals began to take center stage. Gold and silver had unique advantages. They were rare, didn't corrode, and could be shaped into uniform objects. The first true coins emerged around 600 BCE in the Kingdom of Lydia, in what is now Turkey. These early coins were stamped with images to mark authenticity and value, creating the blueprint for modern money. For the first time, people could carry portable, durable, and widely trusted tokens of wealth. Then came paper money, a revolutionary leap that started in China during the Tang Dynasty, around the 7th century, and became widespread in the Song Dynasty. Initially, these were promissory notes issued by merchants and later adopted by governments. At first, people distrusted paper because, unlike gold or silver, it had no inherent value. But over time, as states enforced its acceptance, paper currency became standard. Marco Polo, the famous Venetian traveler, was astonished when he visited China in the 13th century. He described how the Great Khan's government printed paper money in vast quantities, and everyone accepted it as readily as gold. To Europeans, this was mind-blowing, almost magical, turning simple paper into power. By the time paper money spread to Europe centuries later, economies were already transforming. Banks emerged, issuing notes as a promise to pay in precious metal. Soon, coins and notes became the backbone of global trade. Yet the story didn't stop there. In the 20th and 21st centuries, money underwent another revolution in digital forms. Credit cards, online banking, and cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin, are the latest chapters in this long history. And just like ancient salt or cowrie shells, people debate whether these new forms really hold value or whether they simply a collective agreement backed by trust. The wild journey of money from salt and stones to shells, fur, and tobacco, and finally to coins, paper, and digital bits shows us something incredible. Money has never really been about the physical object itself. It has always been about shared belief. Seashell, a stone, a piece of paper, or a number on a screen only becomes money because people agree it is. Without trust, money, no matter its form, is worthless. So next time you hand over a crumpled bill or swipe a card, remember, you're participating in one of humanity's oldest and strangest inventions. The history of money is a history of imagination, of human ingenuity in finding value in the most unexpected things. And it all started long before paper ever existed.